folks, Fat Guy Flies RC. Well, this is either going to be really stupid or really genius, one or the other. I have taken the 64 Futura sport jet and I have upgraded her to a 6S power system using the, I'll have to give you the numbers in the description of the video, but it's the Freewing 64 that has the 6S setup for the little L15. She's got a lot of power now. Also got a KM model afterburner in there. Hopefully you can see it. And I've also put, I didn't have a stabilizer in her before, but now I have an AR630 upgraded to the AS3X Plus. And I'm going to apply my low rates, which are 80% throws or 30% expo because of the speed. I'm anticipating a very fast jet, and I normally have this set for 4 minutes and 10 seconds. I cut it down to 3.5 minutes. CG is still going to be a little nose heavy because of the bigger battery, but I've got it back as far as I can possibly get it. KM model afterburner in there, and I have taken the nose gear off of the linked with the rudder, and it now has its own channel, and I have it tied in with the rudder. That way I can control the throws on the nose gear opposite the rudder, just to separate them. All right, here we go. I am running the GNS performance analyzer. We're going to take it out.
Time remaining 3
Flip
minutes.
it. All right, she's definitely locked in. That AS3X Plus definitely makes her feel locked in.
Landing flaps.
All right, I'll get turned around here. Okay, coming in for a landing. All right. Flap settings seem to be working really well. Now,
Prop secured.
with that setup, I lost the ability to have reverse thrust, but that's okay. Let's see how fast we were going. All right, 89 mile an hour. For that small of an airplane, 89 mile an hour, not too bad. We'll do one more, see if we can't improve upon that.
Motor on.
Okay, I'm reading. All right. This time we'll go off to the west here and do a dive. Just see how fast I can make this little plane go. Not necessarily performance speed, but just how fast I can make it go. I'd love to be able to see if I can get up over 100 miles an hour. All right, here we go.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
All right, that should definitely give me my speed run.
Landing flaps. Flaps up.
All right. Good looking little jet. And I just simply bolted in. Now I did have to move the connection points. Had to drill in a couple of connection points because of the way the shape of the fan moved it to keep it in the same spot. But that's no big deal. Now, when that thing is away from me, I can see that afterburner, no problem.
Landing flaps.
All right. That bright green is the way to go. Still got 1 minute and 9 seconds. Let's, just because I'm a little cautious right now, let me fill that battery. Because I am asking, you know, I'm rigging it. So, anytime you rig something, you need to be a little more prudent about it. All right. Almost 95 mile an hour, 95 mile an hour. Okay, so we're not going to worry about any more speed runs. Let's see if we can't, let's check this battery, see if we have enough juice. And that's the GNS performance analyzer. I just have her velcroed in the underside of the battery hatch. So we'll show you the setup here in just a moment. Let me unplug the afterburner. I want to see how much juice is left in the tank before I take her up again, if I can. Still had 1 minute on the timer. No, 31%. I'm not going to take her up again. All right, let me show you my setup inside. Since the plane is so nice and light, I can just bring it to you. Some planes that you use an AR630 in, it just depends on the plane. Like I have an AR as far as range and passenger range test. I have the big J65 from X-Fly, and because of where that receiver sits, the AR630 passes its range test no problem. But you take the same receiver and put it in a different plane, and it may not pass. Just depends on the plane. You just kind of have to be trial and error. But it works just fine in this one. All right, my setup is, she seems the CG still a little bit nose heavy, but that's okay, got a windy day. That's where I have the 2.7 6S Hobby King, not Hobby King, I'm sorry, China Hobby battery. And it has a, I think a 40C, I don't know. I can't read, the straps covering it. But I think it's a, yeah, 40C right there. 40C 2.7 6S. It's one of their just for airplane type batteries. And I got the GNS performance analyzer I already took out. That's where I got the AR630 in the very back of that wooden tray, hot glued in. And everything's kind of warm in here, but it does get cooling up through this hole. And also there is a cutout, whenever you work on your EDF, you realize there's a cutout behind the structure that allows the air to go through and then run on out the exhaust. So if you have a plane and it doesn't have a way to make air go over your electronics or over your battery, then you need to make one. You need to have the air going over electronics. It saves your, heat is what kills a LiPo battery. Okay, heat and not discharging it properly after use. But heat's the #1 killer, so you want to keep as cool as possible. But yeah, XT60 connector. But like I say, I will put a link to the setup of the battery, or the setup, the new EDF, and the 50. I think it's a 50 amp ESC that went with it, and I'll put that in there. And because I just don't remember. The other thing you might want to do. This gear pops in and out fairly easy, and it's only held by 2 plastic retainer clips. Well, if you want to dedicate it and just leave the gear on no matter what, like I do, what you'll do, same thing I've done with a Marlin and the F86 from Arrows and this one. When any kind of gear that swings back and pops into place and is held by clips, well, that's constant battering every time. Well, those clips will weaken over time, and next thing you know, your gear goes flying off. Well, if you'll just take a nice glob of hot glue, okay, and just saturate that area, that makes a nice, strong, rubbery type a connection. Now you're not going to be able to take it off though. I mean, that gear is going to be on. You would have to take, if you want to remove that glue without damaging the foam or anything, you just pour some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and let that sit on there. Pour a little more. Alcohol's cheap, and that rubbing alcohol is like kryptonite for hot glue, just so you know. And then you could be able to remove it and then just pull the glue off. But until you do that, that ain't coming off. That'll hold as strong as any epoxy. The other thing, if you want to reinforce this, now I'm not having any issue with the gear with this part bending back, but what you could do is take a solid wooden plate, drill out the hole, and then hot glue that on or epoxy that on to make a little brace. I've seen a lot of people do that. But other than that, it's a solid plane. This could be a good grass, but our grass is pretty darn thick, so those wheels are going to disappear. I might be able to do a grass demonstration out here, but we'll see. But there you go, folks. That is the heavily modded Futura 64, still a 64mm, but now in a 6S power system. And I got her up to 95 mile an hour. And I'm thinking that's pretty darn quick for this small of an airplane. Y'all have a good and God bless y'all. God is great, and don't forget, Faith, family, and friends, the Futura 64s with hopped up engines. Bye.